fasting is prescribed upon us. And the Quran clearly says, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So, as Muslims, when we read the Quran, and we don't want to be like those who claim to be of a faith and not read the main literature in our faith, and seeing is that the Quran is the pillar that holds Islam together, accompanied by Ahlul Bayt, it is important for us to read the Quran and understand the Quran through Ahlul Bayt. And this is something that I always give an example to. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, إِنِّي تَارِكٌ فِيكُمُ الثَّقَلَيْنِ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَعِتْرَتِي أَهْلَ بَيْتِي. I have left within you, I have entrusted within you the two grand weights, the Book of Allah and the Itra of Ahlul Bayt. وَإِنَّهُمَا لَن يَفْتَرِقَا حَتَّى يَرِدَا عَلَيَّ الْحَوْض. And indeed that they shall not separate, they shall not be apart until they come to me on Judgment Day. They come to the Hawd, to the watering well on Judgment Day. And I always use the example of water, of H2O. We see that H2O quenches our thirst and nourishes us. However, it has to be combined of those two elements, of the hydrogen and the oxygen.
Yes,
right? So it has to be H2 and then the O. You cannot take one and separate it from the other. So you cannot have just the oxygen itself. It would not give you any benefit. And in fact, if you put 2 H2O, you no longer have the nourishing water that we need and that we drink. If you take one out or you add one, you don't have that necessity or what would quench your thirst. Now the Quran here in this verse, in verse 183, says, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. First and foremost is, what is taqwa? Taqwa in Arabic can roughly be translated into more than one understanding in English. First, tattaqi means to be aware. So to have fear, to have knowledge of what is approaching you. Now in this sense, when we look at it in this sense, we can say that tattaqun from anything that would come after this life that could cause harm, or that is non-beneficial to you. That's one. Taqwa could also mean piety. Taqwa could also mean righteousness. All of those are attributes of taqwa that fall under taqwa. So therefore, when we say that certain individuals are muttaqeen, are God-fearing is not really the best term used here. Rather, God-conscientious is a much better term. Because those that are conscious of God's existence and believe in his existence, then they would follow him by association. So that verse, the importance of fasting, as we all know, is not just one of simply starvation or thirst or what have you. Rather, in the narrations from the Imam, and if you give me 1 second, I don't want to misquote the Imam here. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Al-Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, he says, when you fast, your eyes, your ears, your hair, your skin, and all of your limbs should fast. He also said, peace be upon him, fasting is not only abstaining or refraining from food or drink alone. When you fast, protect your tongue from lying, lower your gaze from anything that Allah has forbidden upon you to look upon, and do not fight with one another, do not be jealous of one another, do not backbite one another, do not abuse one another, do not be unjust to one another. Adding to that, refrain from false accusations, lying, fighting, suspicion, backbiting, and slandering. Be those who look forward to the hereafter and wait for your days. Waiting for Allah has promised for those who have prepared to meet the Almighty. You must have tranquility, sobriety, humility, servility, and submissiveness to be as a servant who fears his master, as well as hopeful for his master. So the Imam is telling us that when we are fasting, our fasting should not take only in the form of, let me starve. And in fact, and I speak about myself here, inshallah, everybody else is different. Fasting has to take on your whole existence, both spiritual and physical. Now, I know that a lot of our brothers and sisters fall under the concept of taqsir, of falling short. And unfortunately, most of our brothers and sisters don't have the excuse to be falling short. However, even with that in mind, inshallah, we will discuss these issues. We will we'll try to answer as many of these questions as possible, and we'll try to keep it as simple as possible. I don't think any of us here are truckers and they travel, except for maybe our captain, Captain Samak. He's the only one that travels, although he's not a trucker, he's a pilot. But I'm pretty sure he already knows the laws of how he has to fast. But inshallah, we'll address all of the issues that we need to address. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Excellent. Thank you, Sheikh, for that lovely introduction. And you touched base on some things, inshallah, we have questions on that you can answer. We categorized our questions vaguely before Ramadan, things more focused on Ramadan, and then A'mal. So given the time that we have, we might cut a few out, but inshallah we can get to them as fast as we can.
Yeah, inshallah.
Inshallah. So the first question we received is, Ramadan is a couple of days away, but some people are still trying to make up their qada fast. So let's say someone wakes up after Salat al-Dhuhr and they forgot to make the niyyah or the intention to fast the night before. Are they still able to do so?
So absolutely. So now what you're referring to here, we have to split into two branches. And I'm sorry, I know that I took a little bit more than I should have with the introduction, but I thought it was necessary. And inshallah, I'll try to keep the question or the answers as brief as possible. So when we're talking about niyyah, as for the niyyah for Ramadan, the niyyah usually starts before the month starts. So the night before the month starts, that's when the niyyah starts. And your niyyah is usually to fast for that month of Ramadan. However, if you are making up fasting, so if you wake up one day before fasting, like the question was put forth, if I woke up, can I now fast? If what you are making up, if the qada that you are doing is for Ramadan or for a wajib fasting, then you have until noon hour, which is what we call zawal or salatul dhuhr, the dhuhr prayer. So long as you make your niyyah before that minute and you have not committed or consumed or done anything that nullifies your fasting, then you're fine. But you can't drink at, say, 11:30 and your prayer is at 12 o'clock and say, you know what, I want to fast.
Wouldn't that be a good deal, Sheikhna?
That would be a great deal. However, on the other hand, for mustahab fasting, you can sleep all day long and you woke up 10 minutes before Salatul Maghrib and you can fast, you can make up your niyyah and fast so long as you have not consumed anything that brings you.
That's for the mustahab, correct?
That's for the mustahab, absolutely. So for the obligatory siyam, if it is before Salatul Dhuhr, then you can, and it is extended, that timeline is extended for mustahab, granted that it's qada. So that is the discussion that we're having here.
Yeah.
So
this follows the next question is that, so can I actually fast a mustahab if I have a qada that I have to make up? Like say, I want to fast tomorrow, I have qada, but it's also mustahab to fast tomorrow, one of the days of Sha'ban. So am I able to do that?
Okay, so here's the thing. When fasting, you have to make up all of the obligatory fasts upon you. So you have to complete the qada. So say that last year I missed 3 days, not 3 months, 3 days. And it is the 14th, 15th, and 16th of Sha'ban, and I want to fast those days.
Yeah.
Technically, you cannot say that you're fasting these days as mustahab. What takes precedence is the wajib. However, when you fast on those days, we know that Allah is most merciful and most gracious.
Yeah.
So we hope that Allah gives you the benefit and the reward of both. But to answer your question directly is no, you have to do what is obligatory upon you before you can do the recommendations in the sense of siyam, in the sense of fasting.
Awesome. Thank you so much. One of the most asked questions that I've received is, what if I didn't get the chance to make up all my days of qada before the start of Ramadan? What do I have to do?
All right. So that one there is people get quite upset with this one. So no, in all honesty, because what ends up happening is that you have a whole year to make up the days that you missed. Okay? And you don't have to do a whole month. So say that a sister, for example, or a brother didn't fast for 2 weeks. Well, they have 11 months to fast those 2 weeks, even if it's 1 day a month. They have to finish it before, well, it won't be 1 day a month because you only have 11 months. So you'd have to fast 3 days a month, give or take. So you have to make him up throughout that 1 year. If you do not, then what ends up happening is you have to fast those days, but you also have to pay the mud. Okay? And the mud, which is the amount that you have to pay, is basically feeding a poor, feeding an individual. Okay? Not any individual. You have to of rice, of dates, of hinta or wheat, and what have you. Okay? So
now,
you have to combine both of those things.
Are we able, since maybe some of us are not able to do that, are we able to give it to an organization that accepts that to then distribute this mud to the
Absolutely. So you can give it to an individual that is trustworthy, that you know will get it to the right people. So for example, you can go to the Hakim Shar'i and give it to them, or an individual that can get it to the Hakim Shar'i, or you can give it yourself to the poor individual.
Okay.
Right? So you're supposed to, technically, you are supposed to give it to the poor individual. But if you cannot point out who the poor individual is, then you can take other means. We have, today, we have what's called the box for the orphans, Al-Ain, the boxes of Al-Ain. Okay? That's the sizes. You can actually put the money in that.
So that's excellent. So you could basically pay, so per day it's a mud, which is about 750 grams of rice. And so they could pick an amount that is a cost to that particular item. And then they could put it in the box. Okay, so that's great to know.
Sheikh, I had another follow-up question relating to that. I think a lot of women, especially mothers, may not get the chance to maybe make up the fast the following year. And if it's been accumulating, do they have to pay this amount every single year?
Every single day that accumulates. So for every single day. So every single day that you miss, you'd have to still make up the fast, and you'd have to pay the mud as well. Okay, I actually have the answer in details if you want to go into it even further, because I know a lot of our pregnant women, our pregnant sisters, and our feeding sisters have that issue.
I think you answered it to the extent that covers. Inshallah, if any of the sisters do need the answer in more detail, they can message me after. And inshallah, if you're able to send it, I can forward that on to them.
Absolutely. And they have my contact information on Instagram. They're more than happy. I'm more than happy to receive any questions that they have, as well on Facebook or whatever social media they have.
Thank you very much.
So now we come to towards the month of Ramadan. Now, I'm not going to get into the moon sighting thing, which I know it's very complex. But I just want to tell our viewers, and maybe you could add a bit to it, that we have received an email from the Shia Muslim scholars of North America, and they have speculated that most likely we will be starting the month of Ramadan on Saturday for the followers of Sayyid Sistani. And so inshallah, when the time comes closer to the month, we will find out from our scholars, from our maraja, and their announcements. So I just wanted to point that out. And so, should I do this question? You've been asking a lot, or go ahead. Go ahead.
So starting the month of Ramadan, when we're making our niyyah or our intention, I think you already touched base on this, but just so we answer it in full, can someone just make the intention at the beginning of the month, or do they have to do it every single day for the month of Ramadan?
So you're right, I did touch upon that, and that's a commonly asked question. And yes, when you make the niyyah, it is sufficient that you make the niyyah for the whole month. Okay? Now, if for whatever reason during the month you break that, so for example, if you became ill or what have you, then one should also prepare with the niyyah, okay, for the remainder. Now, we need to understand something about the niyyah and the intention, brothers and sisters, is that intention is not a verbal act. So you don't have to say, I will be fasting the month of Ramadan, qurbatan ila Allah ta'ala. That is not intention. Intention is having the knowledge of the action you are about to take, adding to the fact that it is being done out of submission for the Almighty. Is that clear? So if I want to do intention for ghusl, okay, for ghusl al-jum'ah, it is my action that shows my intention. So when I walk in, when I want to do the ghusl, I will do the ghusl in this specific manner out of submission for the Almighty. Same thing with fasting, inshallah.
Inshallah.
So then I guess they don't need to, like every night, come have that intention, I'm going to do fast. They could just do it whenever the first night is. They could just come and just have that intention that they'll fast.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I guess it's my turn, finally.
It is your turn.
All right, so other than just food and water, Sheikhna, obviously, these are the things that we abstain from when we're fasting, but what other things that are important for us to abstain from while we're fasting in the month of Ramadan?
Ahsantum. So our scholars, they give approximately 9 to 10 points for us to abstain from during this month, okay? Yeah. And these are things that if committed by the individual, then their fasting is nullified. Obviously, the first and foremost are the first two things, the eating and drinking. Yeah. So that obviously nullifies your fast. However, granted that it is being done purposely. Okay? So if you woke up, say at quarter after 12, and you didn't think of it, and you opened up the fridge, now again, you did not think of it, and you saw a nice piece of dolma there, okay? And you ate the whole dish.
I don't like dolma, I have to say that.
You don't like dolma?
Yeah,
then
sorry.
Bamia, what do you like? Fasulya.
Not even bamia.
The struggle.
The struggle, eh?
The struggle.
Alhamdulillah. So whatever dish, maybe you found a steak, okay? Without thinking, you began eating, okay? And you finished consuming it. Then your father looks at you and says, "What have you done? You just ate." Brothers and sisters, as long as you are unaware, as long as what you did is unintentional, there is no problem with your fast, even if you got a belly full, okay? That is irrelevant. However, if you do it intentionally, then it nullifies your fast. So that's 1 and 2. Number 3, and again, this is very important, is lying about Allah Jalla Thana'uh, the prophets, or the infallibles. So is misquoting them, is saying negative things on their behalf. So if you say that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa ala alih says so on and so on, if that was not the quote of the Prophet, then you have nullified your fasting. Then you have broken your fasting, and that is very important because a lot of brothers and sisters speak out of term, speak out of tone, speak without knowledge. So that's very important. So the fourth thing is intercourse. We don't need to get into details. The one that follows that is what we call in Arabic the sacred habit. The sacred habit. I don't know. Does that make sense in English?
No.
So basically, masturbation. Okay. So that also breaks your fasting, and that's why we call it the secret habit, because it's secret and it's not. We don't want to use the term.
It took him a minute, but he
took me a minute.
Afwan?
It took me a minute, but yeah.
So remaining on janaba, and that is very important. Okay. Now again, remaining on janaba on purpose. Okay, on purpose, remaining on janaba until the time of fasting comes. So until the fajr. Okay, that also breaks your wudu. Now in this case, you have to remain in all of these cases, even if you broke it on wudu. The obligatory precaution is that you remain abstaining from anything else for the rest of the day, and you still make up that day.
So basically, you can't eat anything for that day.
Yes.
And you have to make it up. And I guess there's kafara with it as well, right?
Absolutely. If it's on purpose, definitely there is. And the kafara for it being on purpose is very difficult. The kafara is 2 consecutive months. Yeah. Back to back. Okay, so the first month is back to back, and the second month you can break up in between, as well as it'am. Okay? Moving on, is inhaling thick dust or smoke. Okay? Now that's very important. And again, this is on purpose. Okay? Now this is according to the teachings of Ayatollah Sistani, Allah maqamah. and may Allah lengthen his life and grant him health and prosperity, is inhaling thick smoke. So your vape, your cigarette, if you work in a job that is, where you have a lot of ghubar or a lot of dust that kicks up, you cannot inhale that. That also nullifies your what's it called? Your fasting. Another thing is puking on purpose. So vomit on purpose, even if it was necessary. Okay, so even if you had to vomit and you needed to vomit, that still nullifies your fasting and you have to make it up. Now, when you look at this, this is not as a sign of punishment. This is because obviously if you needed to vomit or you did vomit, there is something wrong with you and you have to care for yourself. And then the last thing after that is what is called as al-huqna, or now al-huqna is not specific injections. It's a specific type of medicine that you take through the rectum, basically. Okay, so anything that you take in through there, then it nullifies it. However, it has to be in liquid form. If I may, and I know this might take a bit longer for this question, brothers and sisters, when it comes to fasting, there are 6 conditions that have to be met in order for an individual to fast. Brothers and sisters, can we continue with these 6 points? Because I think they're rather important. What do you think, Jawad?
Yes.
Sure, go ahead. Let's just take a minute or two, just go over them.
Yeah, I'll go through them really quickly. So the first and foremost is bulugh, meaning that the individual has to be, and 9 lunar years for the female. Okay, of course the man has two other side notes that bring him into bulugh. That's in another lecture, inshallah. We'll touch upon that. Now keep in mind that 15 years in lunar years is equivalent to 14 days, 7 months, and 15 days. And for the sister, it would be equivalent to 8 years, I believe it was 8 years, 8 months. 8 years, 8 months, and a few days. I'm not 100% certain on the sister how many days that is, but we can touch upon that later on. The second and third obligation or requirements are sanity and consciousness. So the individual must not have spurs of insanity and must not lose consciousness throughout that fast for a long period of time that their niyyah is considered no longer valid. Okay, so it's not just a quick, conscious or like in and out of consciousness. Number 4 is purity from menstruation and lakia for our sisters. Menstruation is rather clear as a monthly cycle. Lakia is a type of blood that a woman sees post-birth. Okay, so the woman has to be pure from both of these types of blood before she can fast. Number 5 is that the fasting cannot cause you harm. If fasting causes you harm in any form, then you are not allowed to fast. Okay, the obligation upon you at this point is not to fast. Number 6 is travel, is that you must not be traveling the distance where your prayer is short, which is rather clear, which is 22 kilometers one way and back. Okay,
your points that mentioned, I think, will lead us to the next question here. So, one of the exceptions.
I think you're just taking this all on. I'm also a co-host. I think this is my question.
Come
Sheikhna,
on.
one of the exceptions for fasting is if someone is ill. But how do you self-assess if you're sick enough not to fast, so your conscience is also not hurt by it? So I can't be coughing. Would that be sufficient? How can we assess it?
So when it comes to ailments, that is something that you yourself has to assess. So nobody can tell you that you're too ill to fast or you're not ill enough to fast. The Quran says, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ بَصِيرًا. Every individual knows themselves. I know personally whether my ailment can get me through the fasting or not. It's just like with salat. I know whether my physical condition allows me to pray properly or I have to stay standing or I have to sit down. So that is something that you as an individual has to point out. It's not my father that points it out, and it's not someone else. However, if a professional in that field, a medical professional, for example, tells me that your ailment, if you fast, will cause you harm, then I have to go by the professional's word. Okay? However, with that being said, I still have to apply it to myself. So it's not about coughing out. Okay? You know what? I coughed a couple of times. That means that I can't fast. It's not like that. It is an individual specific point that has to be identified individually by the individual himself. So there's a lot of individuals in that sense.
Thank you. Just a quick follow-up on that. So let's say someone started fasting midway, let's say after Salat al-Dhuhr, they felt like they no longer are able to fast because they were feeling extremely ill. Are they able to immediately stop their fast and just make up that day or whatever, many days after Ramadan?
So when you're saying ill, would him continuing or her continuing to fast cause them bodily harm or not? If it causes them bodily harm, their obligation, a Muslim's obligation, is to preserve their well-being.
Yeah.
All right? Based upon that law, your obligation is to preserve your well-being. You can make that decision. You can make that choice, right? Of course, if you break your fast, you still have to make it up. And that goes without doubt, without questioning that you have to make it up. But the fact of the matter is that your job is to preserve your well-being. Okay? Not only your well-being and the well-being of those around you, right? So if fasting causes harm to you and those around you, then you cannot fast. All right?
Thank you.
If it causes you harm, you must break your fast.
Thanks. The next question, you already touched based on the wajib ghusl, but just to extend the question. So if someone unintentionally forgets to do ghusl, I guess it's a two-part question. If do they have to do it before Fajr or can they do it after Fajr? And if they forgot unintentionally to do it, let's say they slept through and they woke up and the sun has risen and they forgot to do their wajib ghusl, are they still able to fast?
Absolutely. So in this sense, your obligation is to be pure before time comes in. So before the time of fasting comes in, before Fajr, your obligation is to be pure and prepared for the fasting. However, if you went to sleep and you didn't wake up, say until 8 a.m., and when you woke up, you found out that you have a wajib ghusl upon you, an obligatory bathing upon you, or ablution, major ablution as we call it, then at that moment, you must, and I repeat it for the third time, you must head straight away and do the wajib ghusl and continue with your fasting. The fasting does not drop in this sense. You still have to fast. But if you unintentionally woke up and found that you have to do a wajib ghusl, you have to rush and do your wajib ghusl as much as possible, as quickly and as soon as possible.
Inshallah. All right, so let's go to that are in our calendars, this imsak, 10 minutes before Salat al-Fajr. So is it something that's obligatory upon us to follow, or is it some sort of precaution before Fajr?
Ahsantum. So the quick and easy answer, it is precautionary, okay? It is not obligatory. The obligatory time is the Fajr. However, with that being said, the actual time of Fajr is very elusive. That's why we give it that 10-15 minute gap, is because I don't want to fall into the issue of problem. Why? Because if I actually did eat and drink during the time of fasting, then that fasting does not count. Correct? So for me, I'm already fasting. How long is it going to be? 19 hours right now? What's another 15? What's another 10 minutes? Correct? What's another 15 minutes? So as a precaution, one should follow that, okay? Now, with that being said, I cannot stress this enough. Always take the safe route when it comes to this. Always walk on the side of ihtiyat, as we say, of precaution when it comes to your fast, because you don't want to nullify your whole day for a quick 5 minute, or for a quick second of weakness.
Sheikh, all right, we have only a couple minutes left. We have two questions, I think 2 important questions to ask. So during during our time of quarantining, a lot of us, we sleep in, all right? So we sleep in during the day and we wake up at night. I guess that makes our fast a lot easier. But other than Salat, the wajib prayers during the day, are we missing out on anything in the month of Ramadan if we're just sleeping during the day?
So the one thing you're missing out on is gaining more from the dua. However, sleeping during this day is a blessed time and it's a recommended thing to do. the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi in his sermon, and I strongly suggest that brothers and sisters read this. It's called the sermon in preparation for Ramadan or before Ramadan. He says, وَنَوْمُكُمْ فِيهِ عِبَادَةً, and your sleep within these days is worship. It's a form of worship. Your breath in these days, every breath, every inhale and exhale is tasbih, is praising Allah. So by all means, go ahead and sleep, because sometimes sleeping during Ramadan is better than staying awake, because if you stay awake, you'll do something wrong or you'll say something wrong. So no problem with sleeping. Go ahead, enjoy your sleep. And when you're sleeping, make dua for me as well.
Inshallah. I'll make sure I don't wake up Jawad early. I'll let him sleep. Sheikhna, the last question we have for you from our end today is, to get the most out of this blessed month, what kind of things can the youth do? Any short and simple tips, not to overwhelm the youth?
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the best things and the easiest things, in all honesty, to do is to do dhikr. And dhikr is something as simple as La ilaha illallah. Something like that. In fact, if you open Mafatih al-Jinan, you'll see that that is one of the most recommended things. Also, ta'qibat al-salat, there are specific dua, which is very short. It wouldn't take you more than 2 minutes to recite, are very important. Okay. And lastly, is simply being spiritually present. So don't go on during your month of Ramadan fasting based upon simple hunger. Okay. Actually use this month. That's why you see a lot of our brothers and sisters, they have the tasbih, the prayer beads. And just with each one, just say La ilaha illallah. In the ahadith, the heaviest of all deeds that you can put on your mizan, on Yawm al-Qiyamah, is the salat upon Muhammad wa ali Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
In fact, the Prophet, in the narration, the Ma'soom, the infallible, he says, there is nothing heavier than that. And that they destroy your sins the way fire destroy wood. And that they tremble your sins, or tremble, yeah, I guess, break them apart. Sorry, I got mixed up between Arabic and English.
No worries.
And if I can, was that the last question? I just have a couple of comments to add on, inshallah.
Sheikhna, inshallah, the thing is with us, it's not the end of our program. We just have other programs after this, but I'll just leave you with one last comment, and inshallah we'll move on to Brother Hamza. Sorry, our time is very short. It's before Salat. We got to make sure we end it there.
Inshallah. All I want to say is, brothers and sisters, it is we are not able to come together in congregation. This is unprecedented. It has not happened. Not only that, we have been locked away from God's house, not only from God's from the masajid, but we have actually been physically locked out of Mecca al-Mukarramah, of al-Ka'bah al-Musharrafah, of the shrine of the Prophet and the shrines of Ahlul Bayt. And that is something that we cannot take lightly. Usually during Ramadan, we all come together and we congregate in hopes that one of the brothers or sisters receives blessing and we can be included in that blessing. This is the only month, this is the only year where that has been taken away from us. Therefore, we have to look back and look into ourselves and find out what is it that we can do to better ourselves, especially that the month of Ramadan is the month when the Imam Ajjallah Ta'ala Farajul Sharif is expected to reappear, that we really have to prepare ourselves for his reappearance and to be the best individuals we can be.
Inshallah. Barakallah feek, Sheikhna. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Just to let our audience know that alhamdulillah, we're going to be blessed for the month of Ramadan with Sheikh Khalid for 4 consecutive Mondays, one after another, talking about the stories of the stories in the Holy Quran. So I'm looking forward to that discussion with you, inshallah. Late night programs, and so please make sure you are staying tuned to our page on Muslim Youth in Motion page to know what's going on in the programs. We have amazing programs coming up for our viewers, inshallah. So thank you so much, Sheikhna, and jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so Brother Hamza, we're so excited to hear your poetry. Barakallah feek. I'm gonna add you right now.
And inshallah, right after we can have Mustafa Jamal join us, inshallah.
All right, so we're waiting for Brother Hamza. He is our very own poet and reciter. So we are so honored to have him. He's such an amazing youth who has so much talent to share with us. So we are right here to hear him out.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Sayyid Hamza. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for making time for us.
No problem. It was my pleasure. I hope everyone watching is doing well as well. And happy birthday as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Habibi Hamza. Please take it over.
Okay, sure. So, so I just wanted to quickly, actually, I found this beautifully written article. If you don't mind me just reading a couple verses from here.
Hamza, I just want to let you know our time is very tight, so
if
you can keep it within 5 minutes, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So the title of the article is Ramadan during coronavirus, and it says that it's an opportunity to appreciate loved ones, be grateful, and self-reflect. So for the first time in centuries, we are experiencing a pandemic of such an extent that it has brought the world to a standstill. And with that said, it is no surprise that, as the Sheikh mentioned as well, and as we all know, that Ramadan 2020 will be like no other. Fasting held from dawn to dusk during the month of Ramadan is one of the 5 main pillars of Islam. This month has always been a time to celebrate family ties and loved ones. For 30 days, we gather at iftar, the fast-breaking meal at sunset, for the ever-enchanting sense of affinity and friendship. This practice is so widespread and well endorsed by Islam that solitary iftar meals are considered a sad affair. That brings a much anticipated question to mind. How can Muslims observe the month of Ramadan in its true essence during times of lockdowns, quarantines, social distancing, and a pandemic? We are some of the luckiest people to ever exist. Why? Because we can order food online, do our shopping online, and can even exist online with all the technology that we have in this day and age. So why not observe Ramadan online as well as, hey, we're doing that right now through Instagram Live. So I thank everyone for watching. Another point is that Ramadan is not only about fasting and iftar meals, but it is also time to repent and rebond with the Creator and reflect upon one's deed. As the COVID-19 pandemic continues, taking precautions will continue to be mandatory for a while longer. And as Rasulullah warned 1400 years ago, if you hear of an outbreak of a plague in a land, do not enter it. But if the plague breaks out in a place while you're in it, do not leave that place. So it is definitely recommended for everyone to stay at home during this time, and it will definitely be a much different Ramadan than we are used to. But I hope that we'll all continue to be safe in this time.
Inshallah.
So I just wanted to end off with just a very small poem that I wrote here.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Ramadan, a holy month of spirituality and grace. Ramadan, a shimmering light of hope that erases our past mistakes. An immense and powerful spiritual boost and increase of our faith. Du'as and prayers fill our homes and stop Shaitan in his place. I eat and drink as much as I can before the sun rises. And until it sets, I patiently wait so that I can once again eat in plentiful sizes. And day after day, I repeat this process and remember how grateful I am for food and water. It's the small things we take for granted, for which we should feel humbled and honored. This month of Ramadan, however, may be different than those before, when in the past we would eat with our friends and community, but now we have closed our doors. In an attempt to stop this growing virus, we are keeping away from one another. But let us not forget that it is still important to call and check up on our sisters and brothers. I implore you all to continue to be patient and steadfast, from the first day of Ramadan until the very last. I pray that this situation does not scar us, and I pray for those that are sick to get better. And furthermore, until we recover from this virus, we are all in this together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hamza, for that beautiful poem that you have written.
That
What
was
an
very
honor.
well said. Thank you so much.
And it's good to see you. All right.
It's good to see you.
Barakallah feek. Thank you so much, Sayyid Hamza. Inshallah,
Thank
we'll
you so much.
hopefully see you soon, inshallah.
See you
All
soon.
right.
Thank you so much.
Take care. So guys, inshallah, we'll start with the dua tawassul by our very own Radud, Mullah Mustafa Jum'ah. I want to remind everyone that we have an amazing programs coming up for the month of Ramadan. And the first of it is this upcoming Friday. So please, again, stay tuned for that. We have a whole schedule for it. So I am so excited. I'm sure you'll be excited as soon as you see what's coming up, inshallah. So I'm going to have you take it away, Mullah Mustafa.
Inshallah. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم إني أسألك وأتوجه إليك بنبيك نبي الرحمة محمد صلى الله عليه وآله يا أبا القاسم يا رسول الله يا إمام الرحمة يا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا أمير المؤمنين يا علي بن أبي طالب يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا فاطمة الزهراء يا بنت محمد يا قرة عين الرسول يا سيدتنا ومولاتنا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيهة عند الله اشفعي لنا عند الله يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها المجتبى يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا عبد الله يا حسين بن علي أيها الشهيد يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن الحسين يا زين العابدين يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها الباقر يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله جميعا يا وجيها
عند الله
اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا عبد الله يا جعفر بن محمد أيها الصادق يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا موسى بن جعفر أيها الكاظم يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن موسى أيها الرضا يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها التقي الجواد يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن محمد أيها الهادي النقي
يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها الزكي العسكري يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وصي الحسن والخلف الحجة أيها القائم المنتظر المهدي يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا سادتي وموالي إني توجهت بكم أئمتي وعدتي ليوم فقري وحاجتي إلى الله وتوسلت بكم إلى الله واستشفعت بكم إلى الله فاشفعوا لي عند الله واستنقذوني من ذنوبي عند الله فإنكم وسيلتي إلى الله وبحبكم وبقربكم أرجو نجاة من الله فكونوا عند الله رجائي يا سادتي يا أولياء الله صلى الله عليهم أجمعين ولعن الله أعداء الله ظالميهم من الأولين والآخرين آمين يا رب العالمين
اللهم صل على
أرحم الراحمين.
Ahsan Mullah Mustafa, Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for that beautiful recitation. What an honor to always have you on.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on the live.
All right, have a great one.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, thank you all for joining us. We're so blessed to have you guys with us, and it's Salat time right now. Please keep us in your du'as as soon as you go pray. And inshallah, again, please stay tuned to our amazing programs that are coming up. You'll love them. I'm sure you will. So, especially the month of Ramadan is going to be a special month. So again, please stay tuned. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you so much for joining us.